Cancel culture is out of control and freedom is under attack. But not here on episode 3 of the Mike Pence podcast.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered.
It's a raining pants. Hallelujah, it's a raining pants. Let the show come in. It's time for Mike Pence. He's gonna give his 2 cents. Gents and ladies, mainly gents. It's raining pants.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Mike Pence podcast. Patriots, Christians, and virile young men, all alike, are welcome here. We are dealing with a crisis. It is a crisis that we didn't experience under Donald J. Trump, but under the tyranny of Sleepy Joe. Free speech and freedom in general are under attack from the Democrats, from the radical left. So I thought we'd talk about what patriotism is really about on this week's episode. But before then, the sponsors keep coming in to the Mike Pence podcast. So we have another sponsor today, different from the last 2. This one is from the Mapplethorpe exhibit at the California Institute of Art. So we're excited about this Mapplethorpe. You know, one of the favorite things of Mother and I is to wake up on a Sunday morning, go to services, and afterwards have a nice fresh stack of American pancakes drenched in Mapplethorpe syrup. When you feel that Mapplethorpe syrup just going down your throat, it lets you know that you're in America and not a communist country that doesn't allow great things like Mapplethorpe syrup. So I never knew that I always thought it was just maple, but you learn. I guess it's the full name is Mapplethorpe. So go check that out, and you get 10% off your tickets with the discount BBC Pence. So if you use that discount, you'll get in for a discount. But I wanted to talk today about patriotism, because the Founding Fathers did not envision a tyrant like Sleepy Joe Biden. Under Donald Trump, we put the American people first, and we put free speech, free practice of your faith. The reason those are part of the First Amendment is because our Founding Fathers thought they were the most important. And I thought on the Mike Pence podcast, I thought what we could do is humanize the Founding Fathers a little bit. And this is going to be a new segment called The Pence Point. And the Pence Point for this week is, instead of calling them the Founding Fathers, which I think, as great as they were, and they're not getting canceled on this podcast, but as great as they were, maybe Founding Fathers sounds a little too strict, a little too formal, you know, for today's generation of patriots to identify with them. So we on this podcast will be forever referring to our Founding Fathers now as our founding daddies. So they were strong, they were powerful, and they were leaders, and we look up to them. So I am hoping that on this podcast, calling them the founding daddies will help younger generations realize that these were great people who loved our country, like Donald J. Trump, who sometimes I called him daddy, and that was okay. That was the kind of strong top-bottom relationship that we had that made this country work so strongly. You don't have that with Sleepy Joe Biden and crazy Kamala. You have an out-of-control, radical left presidency. So to restore faith and love of our Founding Fathers, we on the Mike Pence podcast will now call them the Founding Daddies. Now, it turns out we are getting another call from somebody, a fan, named Tom Pump. Tom Pump, which, interesting enough, I used to watch movies featuring an actor named Tom Pump. So, talented guy. So, yes, Mr. Tom Pump, you're here with the Mike Pence podcast.
Hello, yes, Mike Pence, your podcast is incredibly weak. We don't like it. You should have helped your president on January 6th. And to be honest, I don't think he should ever forgive you for that.
No, I think you'd realize that I appreciate the call. And, we're not going to censor speech on the Mike Pence podcast. But I have to say, I think that I demonstrated great patriotism and fealty to our great president, Donald J. Trump. And, we can agree to disagree. Okay, I have already said my piece on January 6th. I kneeled before Trump and begged his forgiveness. So President Trump and I are on good terms, okay? And I've already criticized the shoe choices of both Kristi Noem and Nikki Haley, so I don't think I'm getting replaced on that 2024 ticket. Not by those two. So thank you for your call. And you know what, guys? We're going to call this one short, but this has been another episode of the Mike Pence Podcast. So all you young, strong, conservative Christian men, I'm here for you, online or off. So thank you for listening, and remember, if it was good enough for the founding daddies, it should be good enough for us. So thank you. Remember to give 5 stars on Parler, and in Donald Trump's name, we pray.
It's a raining Pence. Hallelujah, it's a raining Pence. Let the show come in. It's time for Mike Pence. He's gonna give his 2 cents.